doing my head in. So, we cast this spell, for instance. Wizard spell. Yeah, that's our shoot. You can see the green composter effect. I'm highlighting the hit range of the spell, if you will. And it's fine, right? We can even cast on ourselves. And it should pop up in chat. There, it says hit. But if we cast this one, right, this domain spell, despite it being quite far away, you can see it pops up in chat saying it's hit. Now, if I change the range so the domain no longer hits us, then all the other spells, their hit detection becomes horrible. All right, so I need to either extend this out further, which is already pretty far away from the player, right? So I'm not sure which section is hitting us, in all honesty, but I don't want to do that because a big thing is, since I'm using armor stands for the projectiles so that I can move them freely, that happens, right? So if we hit anything, any blocks or anything around us, it's going to hit as well. So what I'm thinking is, what if I make the caster immune? So, for instance, if you have a spell book on you that has X spells, then you're immune to those spell effects, right? Meaning you can also take them defensively against another player. Does that sound neat? Right? I don't know if that's a good balancing trick or if I should just play more with the ranges and try to fine-tune it so every spell works as intended. Although it would be much easier if I just go with that other option, right? I just make the caster immune, because then anytime I want to add something else, I don't have to, retweak all the different spell types to make sure that the hit detection still works. Because I'm running hit detection across all of them the same way, right? That way I don't have to write, unique commands for each of them. Anyway, I think we'll go with that idea, right? Which means I can also up the range and have them detect a bit easier. The other question to pose, though, right, is to whether or not to make the particle go through an entity. So, for instance, there you can see it hit the husk 4 times in a row, right? Which could make the spell super powerful if you drop it on a husk or have it here in like a limited section. So the other option I was thinking is just have it delete itself, right? So if it interacts with any entity, it just deletes itself. That, however, I don't think I'm happy with, right? Because like the self spell looks like this, like a cross over us. But if we did that, then they would delete themselves. And I just realized the other issue with making the caster immune is if we have the self spell, we don't want to be immune because we're trying to cast on ourselves. I need to figure this out. Wait, come back. I have an idea. Vexes. Vexes can pass through blocks, right? So if I swap out the armor stands to Vexes, then ideally we can just achieve the same results, right? So if I summon a Vex, I will do 2 blocks in, and we give it no AI, right? So it doesn't react. I also have to turn off its mob abilities in that case, but if we do no AI, right? Now we just also make it invisible, and then, right? Oh. No, interesting. They can pass through, right? If I hit you down. I have strength. Let's try again. Do that. Right, you're there. I'm pretty sure they can pass through blocks, right? Of their own accord. Let me set it up and we'll test it. Okay, so I changed one of the books, the Cast and Arc. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, so it does move the Vex, and does it pass through blocks? That's what we really want to find out. It does. Okay, that is super helpful. The only issue I have with this scenario, right? So you can make mobs invisible, but the way it works is you spawn them in, and then they wait for a tick, right, to update, and then they turn invisible. So whenever you cast something, you'll be able to see the Vex first, unless I do some shenanigans like summon it at 0, somewhere the player can't see, and then teleport it to them, right? But I feel like that would cause way too much lag. Or what can I do? Is there any way I can get the invisibility to work? It's just so much easier because the armor stands have the actual hide function. But I do like this better, right? Because now you can actually shoot through things, right? Looks a little weird though. I should be able to give it an item as well to render. Maybe. They render in their hand slot now, don't they? Not the head or chest. I mean, that's not horrible, right? Did that just go upwards? It does. Because they still have their motion rules applied to them, right? So because they're not affected by gravity, it kind of messes things up. Not horribly. I mean, going up is a bit weird. Down is fine. But then they sort of go wherever they want, right? Because they're vexes. I don't know. That or armor stance. I'm going to have to play around with a bit to see which I like more. So, for reference, this is what it looks like, right? Giving invisibility. See how it flashes before us? Again, the easiest thing to do would be to spawn it somewhere I know is devoid, right? Just below the bedrock layer at 0, or something like that, and then TP it to the player's location. I guess we can try it. Yeah, thinking about it more just won't work, right? Because if I have multiple entities spawned at that location and then trying to pull them to the exact player casting, one, multiplayer doesn't work. Two, any of these spells that use multiple particles, or multiple vexes in this case, won't work either. Apparently, though, the invisibility thing is a bug, right? There's a bug report for everything, because I'm trying to look if there is a way to spawn them in already invisible, but everyone is just saying the teleporting idea. So I don't think we'll go with vexes. I think I'll swap it back to armor stands, right? Oh, that wasn't the right one to show off. That was meant to be this one, right? That's better. So interestingly, markers have... Sorry, not markers. So interesting. The wiki says that there's a... Oh, does work, but not how I was thinking. It's annoying. So armor stands have a new flag where they can be set as markers. But in doing that, they don't have any of the other properties anymore, right? They can't be used as armor stands, right? You can't give them motion. They just operate as markers, which is pointless, right? Because at that point, you might as well just summon a marker. Now, if it could have the marker's hitbox, it would still function like an arm stand where you can give it items, you can move it, right? That would be perfect. But apparently, no, that's not the case. It just sits there like a marker, but it's an arm stand. What a pointless feature. Well, this has been a giant waste of time, right? An exercise in futility. I've just had to reset everything back. Because another thing I noticed was the spike was not so good, right? This is already not so good, but the spike from the changes I was making was a lot worse. But if we go back to the normal book, the cast on ourself, which should be this one, we should hit ourselves. We do not. Oh, that is not good. Why? Why? It was working before, now it's not working at all. Finally, the desired results, right? So we'll do that. We cast this spell, and we get the prompts. Hit, yes. Then we cast the AoE spell, and we don't actually see any hits, right? But we cast it on some friends. If I could spawn them all in, right? What about now? Yes, so it hits the husks, as you can see. It says husk. Yeah, husk. So, finally fine. Right? This took way too long. But, in better news, right? 1.20.2? Is that correct? It was 1.21? No, 1.20.2, I'm pretty sure, is out, so let's update. Always a fun time. We get to see if anything is broken. So, no prompt? That's interesting. I guess because I was using the snapshots, even though it was not the latest snapshot. But, no. So the resource pack is probably broken because I need to change the little number in there, right? But, yeah, casting still works. And... Oh, no, resources again. That's why they look funky. What about the big one was advancements. So advancements, they look to all be there. Great, right? Obviously, just the resources. So as long as I fix the resource pack, we should be fine. So it should be all good. Update to 18. And... It is getting quite big. There we go. Everything's back, functional, and looks correct. Cool. Okay. Why don't we put the books aside for now? And we'll go over some other stuff that I've been working on. You know what? I'm just going to do that. I've got the chests here, so I can always get them back. Right? When I want to do testing. I really want to finish them off. So close. Oh well. Okay. So we have finished the crafting system for all of these special weapons. Right? So if we grab out all of these enchanted books, which is quite a lot. Right? And I need to talk and just fill the space, as well as the hearts. So all these hearts are what allows us to attune our weapons two different affinities, right? So for instance, that was, what was that? Heart of affinity, end, there we go. And ocean, did I grab ocean? 9 plus 3 is 12, perfect. But if we go all the way up there, we can go to our little multi-block structures that I want to utilize, right? Also, sorry if there's some horrible noise. I need to fix the seasons. There's one of them, something that spawns every now and then, just plays endlessly. So if we hear that, we know what it is. But if I grab out any weapon I want, right? We'll grab a gold sword. I can go ahead and I can chuck on a heart and one of these books. So, thorns, heart, gold sword. And there it is. Bad. This little gas ball is a little bit annoying. Do apologize. Not, I can just fix the season. We'll make it nice again. No, I can't do that either. I need to do it manually. Instead, I decide we'll just build it here where there is no season. So we want to get rid of that because the strength is annoying. So we set up the station again. So that's onto that and that on top. Right, so this is our imbuement shock tower. And yeah, so basically each of the enchanting books corresponds to a different type of pattern. So for instance, Thorns was chance on taking damage to trigger, and then each affinity for the hearts. So chance to trigger ocean affinity. So if we grab out a different one like soul speed, and we can grab the golden hearts, we can throw all three on. Okay, the particles do work, they're just very minor. But we get a golden sword, right? So it's a bit heftier than a normal gold sword. And we can do that for all the different hearts, so there's lots of combinations. You can count them out if you want. Right, actually, I think these won't work because there is no image. Let's try it. Right, I'm actually curious about that. No, they should, because it's the affinity, not the trigger. Right, this should just be, no, give me that heart back. We'll go with fire, right? So we can actually see a difference. That, and that. That one's a little bit better, but I do need to update the particles. So this is now guided arrows, nether affinity, right? So what's the purpose of that? Well, the purpose is you can stick it in your offhand and still have the bow ability of it trigger with your bow, right? So you can have two. You can have one on the bow, one on your offhand, and then similar with the weapons. You could still carry a bow and give it, you know, the chance on hit or chance on sneaking and use that to double up. So essentially you can pick between two abilities on each sword, on each item, I should say. And we will do stuff with the lore slots once I get to it, right? But for instance, this is chance on sneak, right? So if we, no, it shouldn't be chance either. This should just be trigger effects by sneaking. Yeah. So we sneak long enough, unless they're broken. And that was a lot of lightning. Interesting. There's no rain. Oh, there was more. It's lightning everywhere. Okay, I'm very curious about that. But also, sneaking is not working. Is it only functioning in the main hand? It is. Okay, so I haven't done that. Let me do that quickly. I think I was still a little undecided on whether or not I wanted it to be the normal items in the offhand or anything, right? Like a specific item I make. But for instance, there you go. It's now working in the offhand. And if we go ahead and craft out another one, we'll go with a diamond axe this time. And we'll go, I don't know, celestial. Still do sneak though, because I want to show them both off, right? So if we throw both of these on here, 1, 2, sorry, well, 3 of these. Of course I miss. Give me that. Thank you. There we go. Oh, we're sneaking. So now if we sneak, yeah, we do both snow and stars. Look at that, right? So you can have two abilities, one your main hand, one your offhand. Neat. Right, so this is before, right? How many hits is that? Way too many to count. Now it's down to 1, but delayed, right? So what I'm doing is every time the particle passes through an entity, it tags them. And then after the particle disappears, that's when it actually releases the spell effect. Now, I don't know if this system feels better, right? Having it be that you hit them with the spell, and then after the spell dissipates, depending on which variant it is, then it releases the effect, right? So it's a delayed effect, but it allows me to have it so it can hit clusters, it can hit multiple entities, it can hit you and other entities nearby, and you have to sort of plan more so, which kind of makes me enjoy the feeling a bit more, right? You have to use it and plan. Plus, I can also then reduce the tick lag that it does cause, right? So that spike is significantly less than what it was before. Before it was reaching the orange, because I can cut out a lot of the interactions, right? Because it's only going to trigger once rather than multiple times. I don't know. Right, we can try it with some other spells too. So, for instance, on the Arc, if we try and hit you, I don't know if we can hit you from here. Right, so as soon as that one passes through them, though, since it passes through them quicker, it's going to hit. But if you were to shoot it and it just sits on them, it's not going to trigger until after the spell dissipates. Right. Oh, why did it... Curious why it hit us. Were we too close, I guess? Where it bounced? Ah, it's still hitting us. So now I have to fine-tune the range once again. Right, but I think that's a little bit better, because then also the effects can be a bit more niche, right? Because, for instance, anyone that summons lightning, right? If that just triggers over and over and over while it's on top of an entity, it's going to not only nuke their HP, but also cause a lot of tick lag and a lot of noise. So, I think I like that a bit better. You cast a spell, it tags an entity, and then the spell is released once the particle is actually gone. So you hit them, and then it activates, right? And that way I can have a particle effect on the activation as well, be a bit better. The only downside is it means I now have to tag them with or tag them uniquely for every type of spell, right? Which is a bit of a downside. Not horrible, but yeah, definitely going to be a nightmare to keep track of, especially if I'm going to add a bunch more spells into it. All right, now we're getting somewhere. First set of proper effects are done, right? So we have our 12 spell tomes with the different affinities, our rejuvenating spell tome. So there's going to be a different effect per spell tome type and affinity type. So there's 36 in total, but we can go through the rejuvenating for now. And unfortunately, I have been hit with the Gale debuff. Tag us. So that's going to be annoying. Remove Gale. Should be fine in this biome because this should be void. Got Lapis, right? So we can go through them little by little. So first up, we have Ancient Affinity. We cast it on ourselves, just to show it off. Cool. We got hit, right? I've kept that in the function just so we can make sure. We got speed, we got strength. But... interestingly, one of the other functions has not functioned. You know, it probably helps, right? It's a data pack. Gotta reload it. Ah, so that's the previous effect. Okay, let's try this again. For effect clear. Okay, so Ancient Affinity Rejuvenating Spell Tome. That was half right. Somehow it procced the Sky effect as well, right? Should just be the Evoker Fangs, not the Lightning. So we get chumped on. That time it didn't. Interesting. Curious. Okay. Working though, right? So we get a little burst of, you know what, it's probably better if I go into survival, right? So we can actually see this properly. So it's like a trade-off, yeah? You get chomped on, take a little bit of damage, you get the regen to heal it back, then you also get strength. Okay, you can also use it on enemy if you want to do some damage, you can use it on someone else, right? So I'm trying to keep them as healing or buffs for rejuvenating, but all have a cost to them, right? So for instance, this is Celestial. So we get hit by a star, we get a random effect because of the star, but then we also get resistance and regen. Strength is from the Ancient, right? Then this is Deep Dark, I believe. So Deep Dark, we get nothing. Well, I feel like it shouldn't be resistance. I feel like it should be absorption. Okay, let me look into that one. Typo in the function. Yeah, so it should work now, right? Yeah, perfect. So we get the hits. We get absorption 4 hearts, and then also the normal healing. But the 4 hearts goes to anyone in a 5 block radius. So if you're using it while you're, getting attacked by mobs, you're going to give them absorption too. Just essentially, again, that trade-off, right? You get time to heal, you get absorption, but then they have absorption as well. Then we have Enchanted. Now this one will require some balancing. We got the hits, but did we get it? So it's saying hit, but the function is not working. Right, instead of me fixing them one by one, we'll put that aside. What is this? Ender we'll also put aside because I don't want to cast that just yet. Glacial. Right, so what does Glacial do? Hits. Perfect. We get regen for a little longer, 16 seconds now. And as you can see, we encased ourselves. Oh, alright, I'm not in creative. That's fine, I can punch. Right? Yeah, there we go. So we encased ourselves in ice. Right? If I can aim. There we go. So you essentially create a little ice block effect, and you get time to regen. So pretty helpful in that regard. Golden. hits, we get 10 hearts of health boost. I might halve that. But again, in terms of this one, everyone gets health boost, right? So if mobs have any way to regen or heal, then they're going to be able to buff up as well. And you all have to deal with the heightened HP. Then we have Nether. So Nether goes, and there it goes. Sets everything on fire. You gain fire resistance. So there's not really a trade-off on this one, right? Maybe if I made the fire resistance shorter, so you had time to get out of the fire, yeah, that might be the go, right? Rather than it being, what was it, 32 seconds, I want to say? Also, why do we take damage there? That was curious. But yeah, and then regen. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Fire resistance down a little, so you have time to get out of the fire, and then regen. Oops, that was the wrong book. So Ocean should do inverse. Yes. Again, I don't know why they're... What's hurting us? Oh, that probably the HP loss, right? So Ocean, we get conduit power, water breathing, and it spawns in a little bit of water, so you'll mess stuff up. I don't mind them not having too much of a downside, right? They'll be fun nonetheless. But we'll say they're fine. And then we have Soul, Sky, and Overworld. So if we use Overworld, we get Poison, Saturation, we should have. I might have typoed that. And then regen, like usual, right? So the idea being you poison yourself, you get to heal through it for a little bit with the regen, and then you have Saturation to keep your hunger bar full. And another weird thing, right? I don't know. It must be the game rule. The game rule has to be off, right? The natural regen, because right now, obviously, I'm not regenning, and that's confusing me. This is Sky. Yeah. Okay, that is a bit stronger than I was thinking. I'm gonna have to up the regen. We're gonna succumb. We're gonna succumb. There was water right there too. Anyway, so the idea is you get struck by lightning. Now I'm in this awful season. We get struck by lightning, and then we get speed and haste, right? So you can take damage, you can sort of use it to damage everyone else around you, while also getting the buffs. And the idea is the regen is meant to help you heal through it, also taking the seasonal damage. I need to hurry back. It's pretty hard walking backwards like this, right? So I'll probably have to update that in terms of the amount of regen. I might not instant health. I'd rather it be regen. So over time, you recover the amount of damage the lightning did. And then we had one book left. What was the last book? Should be in here. Soul. Soul we can't actually see, right? Because if we cast it on ourselves, I am not in creative. There we go. We take out... That's not the one I want. Where's self? There we go. So we cast this. We do need lapis. Ugh, I really need to fix that. Go over here where it's less noisy. So we cast this. What it'll do is nothing. We'll say hit. But this one, you have to have other mobs nearby. In fact, if we just get out some cows. Yeah, that'll do. So if we spawn in a bunch of cows, not too close, and we cast ourselves. Don't come to me. No, you're gonna... Ugh. Oh, that one's broken too. Alright, 4 to fix. Okay, we'll use the pen. The range must have been screwed up. So if we cast this on ourselves, right? The cow's still getting hit. I need to tweak this. Well, you did. No, you were taking damage from that. What it's meant to do is use this. Effective entities around you will take instant damage, while you will get instant health. Only if there are entities around you. So the idea is you're siphoning their life. Anyway, we will leave this one here. Right? Still have 2 more sets? 2. What is going on? Something over there. We still have the Malevolent Tomes and the Amplifying Tomes to fix up. And then that is spells done, finally. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. See ya.